Hello everyone, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to be talking about before insert and after insert triggers in Salesforce. Okay, but before we get started, let's have a look at the agenda of this session. Okay, so first we'll talk about what are before insert triggers in Salesforce, and then I'll explain you a use case and we will go ahead and implement that use case in Salesforce so that you will understand it better, okay, how it works. And then we'll talk about after insert triggers in Salesforce, and then again we'll talk about a use case and execute that particular use case, okay. And then at last we'll be talking about, or I'll show you how you can transfer your trigger logic to a trigger handler class so that you will have at least a basic understanding of the trigger framework, okay. So let's just go ahead and get started. So before insert triggers, okay, so if you guys remember from the previous discussions that we had, any kind of action or custom action or task that you want to perform before a record is saved or inserted into the database, that particular logic will come under before insert, right? Because you want to perform that particular logic before the record is inserted or saved into the database, okay? So I have listed a scenario over here. So on my account object, I have two picklist values, okay? Two picklist fields. So the first one is account type, the other one is upsell opportunity, okay? So I want to create a scenario wherein if somebody is trying to insert an account, okay, and if he has selected account type as customer direct, so my upsell opportunity picklist field should get populated as yes, okay? These customer direct and yes are part of the picklist values of these two picklist fields, okay? So I'll move to the developer console and we will start off with writing the logic, okay? So let me move to the developer console. So here's my developer console. I've already created a trigger on account, okay, because we want to write the logic on account object, right? So I've already created a trigger on account. Let's just go and start writing the logic, okay? So trigger.new, it will hold the newer version of the S-object record, right? And why I'm iterating it over using a for loop is because let's say when you're working in the org, right? I mean, a user can work on a single record, but let's say if you're using a data loader, right? So there's a possibility that you would be trying to insert multiple accounts at the same time, right? So your logic should work for all the accounts, right? So that is why we are iterating it over a list so that your trigger would be bulkified and then it will work for all the records, right? For the multiple records. Okay, so what we wanted to check, if account type, correct? If account dot type, and if you don't remember the the API name of the field, you can move to the object and check the API name of the field. So I wanted to check the API name. So here is type. If my account dot type is equals to what value, I wanted to check it as customer direct, right? So this is my customer direct value. If my account dot type is customer direct, okay, if it is customer direct, then what I want to do is I want to pre-populate my upsell opportunity field, okay? So upsell opportunity, and here it is giving me, so it should give me, yes, upsell opportunity field. This is the API name for that field, upsell opportunity, okay? I want to populate it as yes, okay? And yes is one of the picklist values of upsell opportunity, okay? So here it is. Let me save it, okay? So what I did, I have simply received trigger.new, which will basically hold the newer version of the record, okay? And then I'm just checking if the account which is being inserted, if the type is customer direct, then what I want to do is I want to populate upsell opportunity value as yes, okay? So now let's just go to the org and try to create an account. And what we'll do, we'll select the account type as customer direct, and then we will not select anything into the upsell opportunity, okay? We'll just select the account type as customer direct and we'll save the record. And once we save the record, okay, we will check that if the upsell opportunity is populated to yes or not, okay? So I'll move to the org and let me just go ahead and create an account. Okay, so let me give some name as account one, and then this is one of the required fields that I have on account. Okay, and this is upsell opportunity, and I'm not selecting anything under upsell opportunity. Okay, I'll just select the type, and what type I would be selecting, I'm selecting it as customer direct. Okay, and I'm keeping it blank, and let me save the record. Let's just go ahead and check. So my type is customer direct, and you can see that upsell opportunity got populated as yes, and this is because our trigger fired, okay, on before insert event. Okay, so this is how you can update any field, or like you can say that you can pre-populate any field in before insert. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and go back to the developer console, and here let's say if you want to write a else logic, right, that if the if the account type is not customer direct, then what do you want the upsell opportunity to be, right? Because I have not done anything here, so if I go ahead and create an account type with some other value and not customer direct, right, so it will just keep up upsell opportunity as blank or whatever the user has selected, right? Because I have not written any other logic over here. I have written the logic only for this particular value. Okay, so now let's just go back to the PPT and understand after insert. Okay, okay, so in after insert, what happens? In after insert, let's say if you want to perform any action on a cross object, right, on any other object, or let's say if you want to check any value, or if you want to validate something, or if you want to update something, then that particular logic you would be writing into after insert, right? For example, I have as per this scenario, what I want to do is, if let's say somebody is creating an account, right, once that account is created, I want to auto create an associated opportunity, right? So why I should be writing it in after insert? Because when I would be creating the opportunity in my logic, at that time I would need the account ID, right? Because I would want to associate this opportunity with this particular account that I would be creating, right? So for that I would be needing the account ID, and account ID I will only get into in after insert, right? In before insert, the record is not saved into the database, so it will not have the ID. So that is why we would be writing this particular logic into after insert. Okay, so let's just go ahead and write this logic. And what we have to do is we just have to check that when the account is inserted, what I have to do is I have to create a associated opportunity record. Okay, so let's just go back to developer console, and here let me write this logic. And okay, so what do I have to do here is I have to create a opportunity record, right? So what I will do, opportunity. Okay, this is how you create the instance, right? And then what I have to do is I have to populate I will populate the opportunity name same as the account name. Okay, so acc.name, whatever the user provides in the account name, that will come into this. Okay, account.name. And then there's a required field on opportunity called stage name. So stage name, and one of the values is prospecting. So let's just keep it to prospecting. Okay. And then I want to give the account ID. Okay, which should be the account ID, the one on which user is working, right? So acc.id, acc.id. Okay, this, and I think close date is also one of the required fields on opportunity, so you would have to provide that, otherwise it will throw you an error that you are missing the required field. So here I will just give it as system.today. And here, so, and then you would have to make a DML statement here, right? Insert this opportunity, and it's better to gather all the opportunities that is being inserted into a list, so that you can perform a DML on a list, right? So that every time, right, let's say if there are 10 accounts which are being inserted via data loader, right? So every time your DML statement will not run, okay, it will not hit the database. So it's better to keep everything in a list, and then come out of the loop, and then provide the DML statement, or write the DML statement on that particular list. Okay, so what will I do? I will create a opportunity list. Okay, opportunity and a list, opportunity. This is how you define a list. Okay, so here it is. So what will I do? I am gonna add this OPP instance into this list. Okay, dot add and OPP. Okay, Now I can come out of the loop and I can perform DML on this particular list. And before performing the DML, I will check if this list has anything, then only hit the database, otherwise don't. Okay. So I will just check if this list is empty or not. So list opportunity dot is empty, and then we will put a not check. Okay. If this is not empty, then only insert the opportunity. So insert this list. Okay. So okay, so now I have this particular logic I want to perform on after insert, right? So I have to include that event after insert. Okay, and then I don't want to run the whole logic on before insert and after insert, right? So I have to provide some check, correct, that which part of the code should run on, like, before insert, and which part of the code should run on after insert, right? So I can put a check. So for example, for this particular logic, I wanted it to perform only on is insert, right? So if trigger dot is insert, sorry, I wanted this to perform only on before insert, right? Because both are insert. The only difference is one is before insert, the other one is after insert. Okay, so I will put a blanket check for trigger dot is insert. Okay, so let me put this first. Okay, and then I can move the whole logic inside this. Okay, is insert, and now I want to separate it out based on the this event, before or after event. Okay, so what will I do? I want to perform this particular logic if my trigger is before, right? Is before, correct? And then this should only run on before insert. Okay, right? Okay, this one is for this. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to perform this logic in is after, right? Because I want this to, the opportunity to be created once the account is inserted. So what I would be doing is I would put another check here if trigger dot is after. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to perform this logic. Okay, here, and then let me just, all right, so now my code is segregated into two parts. Okay, the first one is if the trigger is insert, then what it is doing, it is basically I have to write both the logic in is insert, right? That is why I have put this blanket check for both the code snippet. Okay, here it is ending here, right? And then I'm only separating it based on if it is before or if it is after. Okay, if it is before insert, then I want to perform this particular logic. If it is after insert, then I want to perform this particular logic. Okay, and let me save it. Now let's just go ahead and see if it is working or not. So I will go ahead and create an account and we'll check if the associated opportunity is created or not. And also you can check both the logic at once, right? Because both are written on insert. Okay, so account to, and so whatever name I'm giving here on the account, right, the opportunity that it will create, it will give the same name to the opportunity. Okay, and here let's just check the other logic as well that we have put for before insert, right? I am also selecting the type as customer direct. Okay, and let me save this. Okay, so here it is. So if you can see here, the opportunity got created, right? And these are the values that we had provided. We had given the stage as prospecting and the close date as the system, system.today, today's date, right? And the name of the opportunity same as the account name. That is what we have given, correct? So this after insert got executed and also before insert got executed, right? Because before insert will get executed first. So here what we had done, we had given the type as customer direct, and so that our upsell opportunity got populated as yes. Okay, So this particular creation covered both the things, before insert and after insert. Okay. So this is how you can basically implement your logic as per your criteria or condition, right? If you want to execute anything in before insert, you would have to write that in before insert, and if you want any logic to be performed in after insert, then you can segregate that into after insert. Okay. Now if you see something, I mean, this is my trigger, right? And likewise we might end up covering a lot of logic over here, right? So it's better to create another class and keep all the logic in that class, right? And then what we can do is we can simply call that call the function from that class, correct? So what I'll do, I'll just go ahead and create a handler class for this particular trigger. Okay. So account trigger handler class. Okay. So here is my class. So what will I do? I will create two methods, right? Because I would need I would need two methods, because in here I want to call something else, right? And here I want to call something else. So let me just go ahead and create a method, public static void, and populate upsell opportunity, right? And here, what should I pass into the method? I should be passing the list, right? Because trigger.new is basically giving me the current version of the record, right? So what I have to do is I have to pass the list. So here, list, again, because we want to bulkify it, right? So opportunity, sorry, this is account, and then list accounts, right? And here what I would do is I am gonna take this logic from here and I will shift it to here. Okay. And what will I do? I'm gonna call this class in here dot, and then my method is static, so I can directly call this method. And what do I have to pass? I have to pass the list, right? So trigger dot new. Okay. Okay, this is not saved. We just first have to save this. Okay. Okay, here I have to pass this list, right? Because I'm receiving this list, right? There's nothing trigger.new. This is a class. Trigger.new will only, you can only access that in trigger. Okay. So, right. And then here, let's just go ahead and save it. And then what will I do? I will create another method. Okay. So let me first just copy this and okay. And here I will create op on account insert, right? And then again, I have to pass the account list, right? Because I would be using that in the opportunity record, right? While creating the opportunity record. So here, let me just, where is this ending here? And it's ending here. So I'm just gonna cut this and paste here. The only thing that I would be doing is that list of accounts, right? I have to pass here list of accounts and not trigger.new. Okay, and that's it. Okay, and let's just call this method over there. And what is my class name? My class name is account. Let me just copy and paste it from there. This is my method name. This is my class name. So my class name dot method name, and I would have to pass the list, right? So trigger dot new. Okay. And that's it. So this looks much more cleaner, right? So let's say if you have a lot of logic in your account trigger, right? Which you will basically, if you're working in a project, you will end up having a lot of logic, right? So it's always better to keep the logic separate, and then you can call those functions into your trigger, right? From the handler class. So this is a very basic structure of a trigger framework. Okay. There are much better frameworks which we will discuss in upcoming sessions. So this is the very basic one, right? Where you can keep all your code into a separate handler class, and then you can just call those functions into your Apex trigger. Okay. So this was all about before insert and after insert trigger in Salesforce. In the next session, we'll talk about before update and after update triggers so that you'll have much better understanding on those as well. Okay. Till then, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Bye bye.